Trump's tariffs slay China. Churches crush Big Pharma. Miami's red wave fight back. And borders vetting exposes elite hypocrisy. This is what we're going to be talking about today. And it's going to be epic. And it's so exciting about what's going on in the news right now. See, is inflation fake? What's Obamacare's end game? And you won't believe the $30 billion church unicorn killing hospitals right now. Welcome to the LFG America podcast. So today we're going to be talking about Trump's tariff. Is he really out of touch, or is he actually slaying China's grip on America and American dominance? I think it's incredible to see what's going on here. See, we're making America wealthy again. That's what Trump has mentioned numerous times on the campaign trail, as well as currently while he is running as he is president right now. Now, the leftists, they're saying that they're going crazy. They're saying Trump's having fun, golfing all the time, while families suffer sky-high prices. He's out of touch. That's what the leftists and CNN and MSNBC say. See, and I say BS. This is outrageous. This is ridiculous. And I'll share with you. Year over year, inflation cooled to less than about 3% in late 2025, way off the 2022 high of 9% of Biden's peak. That time, 9%. We all felt it. Even the high, the wealthy. Okay. Now, but prices are still about 20 to 25% higher than pre-COVID. Groceries, they're up 25%. Rent, it's the same. It's the same exact situation. See, Fed surveys show folks expect 3% plus inflation forever because eggs, gas, homes never uninflate. Trump's laughing. No. He's the only one who gets it, and he's combating it with the tariffs. Let me explain. See, media says Trump doesn't feel your pain. He doesn't. He's in his high ivory tower. Well, this is a total lie. See, Trump's the guy who built skyscrapers, casinos, signed thousands upon thousands of payroll checks, stared down unions and regulators. He knows small business owners crushed by Biden's regulation, tsunami, and price spikes. See, your dinner can't raise menu prices 25% without losing customers. See, there's this supply and demand situation right now. Elites in DC, New York City, they sip $20 lattes, check stock portfolios up 50%, and lecture flyover country, us, right, the American people, at Trump's rally vibe. That's realism. Promising wins, not pity parties. See, Senator Josh Hawley nails it. Yes, tariffs cause short-term pain, but decades of hollowed out factories all over this nation and China dependence is the real killer long-term of American dominancy. This tariffs rebuild our economy and national security. Trump's not tone deaf. He is not tone deaf. He knows what he's doing. He's the surgeon cutting out the cancer of long-term America demise. He wants to destroy that, and he wants to actually make America great. Now, see, if you hate Trump's tariffs, you're cool with China writing America's rules long-term and China's dominance over America and funding the CCP, China, with your grocery money. See, free trade elites love offshoring. They sound so wonderful. Free trade, this is awesome. They love offshoring. Ship jobs to Shenzhen and crush Rust Belt factories. We've seen so many Rust Belt, Middle America, so many factories just closing their shops. And then they call Trump voters populism for wanting wages. Trump's genius, tariff as leverage. See, yes, short-term hit. Yeah, I totally acknowledge it. Yeah, steel, aluminum, tariffs, jack prices to 20, 30% fast. Cars plus 1,000. Cans plus 10%. 2025 models predict 0.5% to 1% CPI bump. But that's temporary. Yes, I totally acknowledge what the macro economy is doing right now. And I just mentioned that. We're seeing a 20 to 30% increase jack prices because of these situations. And it's short term, but long term win. Let me explain the long term vision, what's happening. Steel output, 10%, up from way beyond from what it used to be. Nuclear's $1.7 billion, 2,000 jobs it created. China imports crashed 75%. Do you think that took a huge hit for China's economy? Yes, 100%. $28 billion tariff cash in June 2025 alone. That's a huge amount of revenue. Just off of this real quick pivot. What is it going to look like of June of 2026? Huge. No new taxes on us. This isn't, but it's increased the infrastructure. It's being deployed back to the debt. We're seeing that actively, and we may even get a rebate back to the American people. Now, auto firms fled Asia from Mexico and USMCA. No more China subsidies via dumping. See, GDP dips 0.2% short term, but 3 trillion revenue decade long. 3 trillion revenue decade long. That's the long-term strategy. That's the long-term of America's dominance right now, what's happening. We're reshoring all the jobs back here in America. And critics ignore 2021 shortage that costs trillions. Trump's forcing Japan and so many other countries proving pain for independence works. See, this is what I want people to understand. See, politicians, central bankers hooked on cheap money, short voter memories. Trump, see what he's doing right now, he's the only leader torching 30 years of NAFTA global crap that gutted the American people's towns. We see it. Fed cuts, debt balloons, market jittery, good. It is a wake-up call. Trump is pressuring. He's finally the only one that's pressuring China and all these other nations to obviously come to the table for tariffs and renegotiate. And we're seeing a huge bump in the economy and America's dominancy. And we are not reliant on other nations now. The system that shipped your factory to Beijing, 5 to 10% now, or 100% freedom lost to China's control. That's what's happening. Trump's fighting for us, the American people. Media and the leftists, they fight for the status quo. What was? Well, that's that path of what was is leading us to America demise, when what Trump is doing is leading us to America dominance. That's the difference. That's the delta. If you are voting for Democrat, you are voting for America's demise, because that's what they are, and that's what they're continuously striving for. America and Trump, what America is, we are wanting America greatness, America dominance right now. And that's what's happening. Now, let me just pivot a little bit slightly from what's happening with the tariffs. And I want to share with you a little bit about what Obamacare is. Is killing Obamacare subsidies genius, or is it political suicide? Because as we all know, kind of what's happening right now. Now, just picture this. CNN headline blaring, Republicans ripping healthcare from millions, right? That's what they always love to posture. That's how the leftists always explain this. Republicans are coming over here and ripping healthcare from the poor. That's just a flat out propaganda, and that is flat out lie. MSNBC melting down. Trump's gang is killing grandma. That's what they love to share, and they over emphasize this. All because GOP leaders are letting Biden's bloated Obamacare subsidies expire at the end of 2025. And Trump is leading the charge. They want Obamacare subsidies and Biden-era bloated structure to end, those subsidies to be ending. And let me explain why. The media machine is in full panic mode, painting Republicans as villains, right? As typical, heartless Yankees, free insurance from the poor. But hold up, is this the death of healthcare, or the long overdue financial or overdue funeral for a scam that's been robbing America blind for 15 years? It is a scam. This Obamacare and the subsidies that's going on and being paid to the middlemen, just tremendous. It is robbing the American people. Now, Trump's about to drop the truth bomb nobody else has the guts to touch. Let me explain. Here's the setup. Under Biden, these subsidies exploded. I mean, we saw a tremendous explosion in a negative sense. Families earning up to $300,000 got taxpayer-funded premiums slashed by 80 to 90%. Sounds great, right? Free health care for all. But now with Trump back in the driver's seat, Republicans in Congress are saying, nah, let him sunset. Cue the outrage symphony. See, Democrats scream it's a $2 trillion giveaway. No big pharma. AOC tweets fire emojis about GOP cruelty. Even squishy rhinos whisper about extending them just a little longer, right? And that's what a lot of rhino Republicans like to structure. And it frustrates the piss out of me to be able to see that. They have no backbone. They have nothing to stand for, and they don't follow through on what Trump is doing here. See, the narrative, Republicans hate poor people. That's what they like to share, and want you bankrupt from a doctor's visit. But what if I told you this free stuff that Democrats love to share is the biggest hidden tax in America right now? Subsidizing a cartel that's jacked prices 300% since Obamacare passed. 300%. Just it is a pure scam of what's going on. And let me explain. Enter Trump, see the wrecking ball. This is what he does. Okay, he is a wrecking ball into the infrastructure and into this elite hypocrisy. See, stop the fake free stuff that hides true cost and forces everyone into bloated, inefficient systems. Bloated and inefficient systems. That's what our American healthcare system is. Bloated and it is inefficient. No more illusions. See, Obamacare subsidies prop up a monster where premiums doubled, deductibles skyrocketed to 10,000 plus, and 90% of doctors refuse new Medicare patients because government reimbursement is a joke. That's what's happening right now, okay? Trump's not promising another 2,700,000 bajillion page disaster like the 2017 failed repeal. He's saying expose it all. Let markets work. Give people cash or tax credits that they actually control. These families, give them cash or tax credits, okay, that they control, not laundered through DC bureaucrats and insurance fat cats. See, controversial? Yes, it is. And it is a bull in a china shop, and that's what he does best. But it's the first real gut punch to a system where hospitals merge into monopolies, charging $50, $75, $100 for a little Tylenol, denying care to the uninsured. It's so devastating. It is a scam to the American people, and Trump is leading the charge to disrupt that scam. Republicans have been terrified of healthcare since Trump dragged them kicking and screaming to repeal Obamacare in 2017. See, remember Paul Ryan folding like a lawn chair, folding like a little wimpy kid in a park? They've cowered for 8 years, most rhinos and most Republicans. And it is only about time that Trump has the backbone, has the courage, has the resolute spirit to get this job done. See, they've cowered, letting Democrats own the compassion narrative while cost exploded 50%. Cost just exploded in a negative sense under Biden. See, in Trump, he's the only one ballsy enough to call it. The system's captured. Insurers like United Health rake 100 billion plus profits yearly. Hospitals own 80% of markets in major cities, price gouging ridiculously. And pharma laughs to the bank with insulin at $300 per vial. Subsidies aren't mercy, they're steroids for the beast. That's all it is. It's heroin. That's all this is for the big pharma. Hiding $3 trillion in waste while middle America families skips checkups because copays eat their paycheck. They just can't afford it. And the deductibles out of the wazoo. And of course, the insurance premiums are ridiculous. It is bankrupting America. See, if you're defending Obamacare subsidies right now, you're subsidizing the corporate greed over real reform and progress. Trump letting them expire forces transparency. See, allowing these subsidies to expire by the end of this year right now actually forces transparency in the market. And that's what big pharma and the hospital systems, they do not want that to happen. They don't want the American people to actually know, oh man, this is the actual what the cost is and what the structure is. Prices drop when competition breathes, period. Allow the markets to work, okay? Like they did with LASIK or laser eye surgery. That's down 80% since the 90s. See, GOP chicken shits, Republicans, chicken shits, have punted this for decades because they didn't want to touch it. They didn't know how to touch it, okay? And it's sad. Trump is finally forcing the fight with the Republicans and the Democrats. Who's the hero? The guy cutting the cord or a failing machine? Or the media shield big insurance racket? Your wallet knows the answer. See, this is what I want you to understand. Trump is the only one that's able to come in and get the job done and make things happen. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing this tremendous. And I think it's extremely important that this is what is necessary for the next evolution of America greatness and America dominancy in the healthcare system and what's going on right now. Now, this is what I want people to understand. See, when we dive into it a little bit further, see, what would you rather? Cash in your pocket versus DC black hole, right? A DC just, where does the money go? They just have this blank check, right? Trump's populist power move. See, this is what I want. Democrats scream that healthcare for all and push endless government programs and subsidies because we think the government is the solution, when Trump understands it's not the solution. See, this is what his structure. He says, here, American people, here's cash, spend it how you want to. Here's tax deductions on how you want to structure it. See, imagine, instead of begging some faceless bureaucrat for a doctor appointment, you get direct relief straight to your bank account. No middleman, no waste. Sounds super, super simple, right? Sounds almost like a dream come true. Sounds almost impossible. Like, is that even possible? Yes. That's why the elites hate it. That's why the leftists hate it, because it's so simple, because it is a simple solution. We overcomplicate it, and we're padding the pockets of all these middlemen, and it's ridiculous. Today, we're breaking down why Trump's cash and choice structure crushes the leftist nanny state scam, huge pharma scam, and why trusting DC with your money makes you the sucker at the table. See, leftists, they want programs. They want subsidies because that's something that they control, and they use that as leverage to hold these organizations accountable, whatever, right? Big, shiny bureaucracies promising utopia, whatever shit they always like to share, but delivering lines, delays, and denial letters, and just kicking the can down the road. That's all they do, right? Oh, we'll get to it later. We'll get to it. Another extension. See, Trump wants cash and choice. He wants tax credits, HSAs on steroids, or straight up rebates you control. Why? Because real people aren't idiots. Most American people, we're not idiots. They know how to shop for a doctor better than some GS13 paper pusher in DC. See, under Biden's subsidies, your free premiums, it's your neighbor's tax dollars funneled through a 1,000-layer DC machine and bureaucracy. And Trump flips the script. He empowers families, not fun, fat cats, NGOs, and DC bureaucrats. This is a red meat populism. Workers get power. They actually get power. And here, look, you guys go ahead. Pick a doctor. Here's the money. Here's the thing for HSAs. See, every single dollar routed through DC gets mugged first. 30 to 50% skimmed by bureaucracy right off the bat. That's just a pure expense. That's nothing of efficiency, nothing of about going to the bottom line. It is just pure gone, done. Consultants billing $500 per hour for PowerPoints nobody reads, and NGOs turning your donation to a six-figure salary for some Ivy League activist. By the time it hits a patient 40 cents on the dollar, 40 cents, not 70, not 80, 40 cents on the dollar, if you're lucky, look at Medicaid expansion. See, 1.5 trillion spent, yet ER wait time explodes and rural hospitals still close. So what we're seeing, all this money spent, but yet there is no efficiency in this. We're spending 1.5 trillion spent, but yet ER, emergency visits, their wait time explode. And the rural hospitals, we're still seeing closing them. See, Trump's fix, his solution, is cut the cord. Just totally cut it. Direct cash means 100% reaches you. No administrative fees for woke diversity training or lobbying golf outings. The left call it cruel. I call it common sense. Why fund their gravy train when you could pay your own bills? You can make this solution. See, this is what it is. And this might get me canceled. If you trust a government agency more than your own bank account, you are the problem. Seriously, have you seen your 1099 from the IRS lately? These are the same clowns who lost $500 billion in COVID relief to fraud while preaching equity and inclusion. See, Trump gets it, and his administration gets it. Adults, Americans, we don't need Big Brother swiping half their checks to help. Give them cash. Let markets compete. Price crash like they did with Walmart generics or Amazon prescriptions. Trusting DC is like handing your wallet to a pickpocket and calling the security. Wake up, guys! Right? We're handing our wallet to DC and saying it's like a pickpocket. It's like some guy that already stole $100 million. Well, why would I do that? Right? I want to keep it in my own pocket so that, of course, I can choose and I have that control. It's a simple process. See, direct relief or supercharged HSAs, that's rocket fuel for real choice for American families. See, shop cash, pay docs, telehealth, face-based sharing plans, or boutique clinics charging $100 visits. See, no more 2,000 page bills, 5,000 page bill nobody ever reads, right? See, Trump's path, triple HSAs, tax-free family health pools, price transparency mandates that shame the gougers, and the result that we will see in the marketplace is the cost will plummet 20 to 50%, like LASIK did from 5,000 to 1,000 for eyes. Empowering for the American people? Hell yes. See, the left want dependency. They want dependency. They want people to depend on us. See, Trump wants independence for the American people and for the American family. Who's really fighting for you? Who's really fighting for you? Who do you want? Do you want America demise in the hospitals and the pharma? Or do you want American dominance in the Trump administration and what he's doing and giving you the choice and the opportunity? Now, I want to specifically dive into something that I found very unique looking at this, and I think this is incredible to see how the churches can crush big pharma and hospitals. See, Trump's subsidy nuke and what's going on in the 2025 year and ending the oversubscribed subsidies and the nuke and what's going to happen there unleashes like a $30 billion faith-powered unicorn possibility. Check this out, okay? Imagine this. Not another bloated hospital chain like Obamacare swallowing $100 billion in revenue while charging $50 for aspirin. No, imagine a network of 10,000 churches across America, each hosting a $99 a month direct primary care, right? DPC clinic, right? Direct primary care. Let's just say that's 1 million members at $1,200 per year. That's $1.2 billion in revenue, year one. Now you scale that to 5 million members, that's a $6 billion unicorn status. See, low overhead, no insurance BS, 80% margins, which is a very profitable business, and built on trust that hospitals can't touch. See, Trump's subsidy, sunset, and what's happening there, which is perfect timing, families will ditch bloated ACA Obamacare plans for faith-aligned care that they control and that they need. So just check this out. The core structure would be churches already owning real estate. They partner with a central platform for on-site DPCs, module clinics with telehealth, basic labs, 24/7 virtual access, monthly fee covers unlimited visits, chronic care, preventive screens, whatever it is, no billing codes, no claim denials, none of that archaic stuff. And the real example is scaling now. See, I'll share with you. Samaritan Ministries, Christian cost sharing, $2 billion plus shared, plus church clinics like Mount Calvary Baptist, Atrium Health, outpost routine care in pew space. See, Grace Community Church run fixed fee on-site docs, engagement up 40%, cost down 60%. Those are actually real thing. Grace Community Church, as well as Mount Calvary Baptist, Atrium Health System, and Samaritan Ministries. These are actually organizations that are structuring this and doing this. Imagine we make this national. And this is a total side note because, you have the infrastructure. It's just a matter of finding someone through a business perspective that can actually implement this, execute this. See, economics crush it. See, $50, $150 per month per family versus $500 plus premiums that you may or may not use. Church subsidies, 20% via tithes and community funds. Platform takes like 10% for the SaaS and all the upkeep and whatever. Reoccurring revenue plus zero CapEx for churches, right? Viral adoption. It would be huge adoption. Huge adoption. See, the catalyst behind it would be subsidies expire. 20 million plus drop-off exchanges seeking affordable alternatives. They're looking for alternatives. Churches aggregate demand instantly. Pastors preach it from the pulpit. They're saying, hey, and healthy lifestyle, right? See, hospital hate this because it works. It can work. What if Obamacare's real killer is churches proving government isn't needed? Trump's chaos burst the fix. Pastor-powered primary care, saving souls and wallets. And I think this is going to be a revolutionary thing that we'll see in the upcoming few years. It's going to be so fun. It's going to be so epic. And that was just something that I want to share with you. Now, I wanted to kind of pivot a little bit toward the Miami political flip, the cultural war map. Did Democrats really win Miami or did Republicans get lazy? It's been very interesting to watch this all, kind of all play out a little bit. And this is going to be real quick here, synopsis. Miami used to be safe, Democrat, really, really strong Democrat, Miami-Dade area. Then Trump actually flipped the Miami-Dade in the last election, and now a Democrat mayor wins. Pundits saying the red wave is over, right? Because we saw like New Jersey flip to Democrat, we saw Virginia switch to Democrat, and those are very heavy leaning Democrats, anyways. But I think one of the biggest things is are Republicans getting lazy, right? We finally win, we're moving, and are we getting stagnant? And do we have a good message that resonates with the population? I think we have a message that resonates, but it's a matter of finding the right people that will continuously show up in waves to support, whether that's voting, whether that's getting out the vote, whether it's door knocking, whether it's just having conversations or even donating to these candidates. I think that's what's important. When we are winning, it is important to continually win as Republicans and stand firm with a resolute spirit moving forward with what we know is possible for American dominance and for American greatness. And I think it's really important to understand, we have some governor races, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, others that we need to be focused on for 2026, as well as making sure we have some really strong defense for some Senate seats that are going on in 2026, as well as the midterms. And so I think this is very important to really give a key idea of, okay, how's Trump's policy structured? I think overall what we're going to start seeing is depending upon how the tariffs shake out, as well as, if they are able to maybe give a tax credit or a tax relief to the middle income, I think we're going to start seeing a large move toward the Republican Party. And I think long term, that's what Trump is going to be doing, definitely with the Fed and everything like that, as they decrease the rates on that. And one of the things I also wanted to share is Latinos. They have a huge show up rate for Republicans, actually, because of the family values, because of just the work ethic, the hard work, to go out there, pull up your bootstraps and rock and roll and move, right? That is the ethos of the Republican Party many times. And Latinos actually really resonate with that. The sad thing is, I don't think as Republicans we have a very strategic approach. I think we've seen that a little bit more so than I would say within the last 10 years. Within the last 2-3 years, we've definitely seen a more explosion toward the Latino market and being able to make, adjust our messaging to those individuals that may or may not be able to speak English, but obviously they have American values. They love America. They love what we stand for. They have Republican values, and I always coordinate Republican values as American values. And I think Latinos, we need to have a very strategic approach. We're seeing that. I had a good conversation with a friend of mine actually that runs Latino CPAC. Amazing organization. They do a lot of Mar-a-Lago events and other events down here in Miami and South Florida. And they have a huge vocal opportunity to be able to touch those individuals that may be left out. I think that is a key demographic that I think the Republican Party really needs to control, or at least be able to, have a strategic approach, an execution approach to be able to attract those individuals into the Republican Party. Whether that might be just bilingual candidates, we're starting to see that, or just more structured and say, hey, look, we hear you, we see you, and we want to obviously, be able to make sure that because they're just like any other family, definitely in the Midwest, flyover country. I think a lot of these individuals are saying, hey, look, we that we're very effective with prices, what's going on with groceries, with inflation, and my paycheck hasn't increased. And so what's going on here? My expenses have increased, but my paycheck hasn't. And so that's a concern of the American people, and definitely Latinos as well. And we can put that in there. So I think, what we need to really focus on is that structure. Now, one of the things I also wanted to share with you is Trump's border vetting process and elite hypocrisy. Trump's social media screen exposed. Now, let me explain this real quick, because this can be a very slippery slope. Just like we saw with the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was used specifically for the opportunity to identify possible terrorists in the nation. Well, as you and I understand, the Democrats used the Patriot Act and what it was meant for, NSA and all this stuff, to target Republicans and conservatives. And that's a known fact, right? And I think that was what was very devastating and really hurt and destroyed the trust of the government because the Patriot Act was never used for that. It was meant to find terrorists. And for that reason, it was very powerful. It was very successful. It was very efficient. And it prevented a lot of terrorist activity in America. And that's proven as well. However, though, when you start using it, and depending upon who's running the government at the time, who's president and whose administration is running, when they start using that power and using it to target the opposition, that's a red flag. And that's what a lot of the founding fathers actually, try to prevent as much as possible. So you ask yourself with Trump's kind of social media structure and really using this technology to help. The whole thesis really, just let me share with you, Trump wants every visitor to hand over 5 years of their social media history before stepping foot in America. Now, privacy warriors are losing their minds. Surveillance state, right? Big brother. That's kind of what we're hearing. End of freedom. But see, let me explain. See, they didn't say the same thing when big tech banned Trump, or the NSA spied on your grandmother's emails, right? And COVID apps tracked every unvaxxed grandma, right? See, welcome to the ultimate hypocrisy of what's happening right now. Is this Trump's master stroke for real security, or is it a very slippery slope like we saw with the Patriot Act to a woke social credit nightmare? See, let's dive into this a little bit. See, picture the outrage. AOC tweets fascism, right? Tech bros at X panic about chilling effect. Legacy media spins it as Trump turning America into China 2.0, right? That's how they structure it, right? It's just a pure propaganda. The proposal, however, foreign visitors, think visa applicants, not tourists, visa applicants, disclose Instagram, Facebook, WeChat, everything for national security screening. Alarms blare, privacy invasion. That's kind of what they focus on. However, though, and overreach and Big Brother. But flip the script, after 10 million plus illegals crossing and terror watch list encounters up 400%, right? And fentanyl killing 100,000 Americans yearly, is it really too terrible to ask for these visas, these visa applicants, to look at their previous social media history and their chat and dive into it, be able to actually filter them in a proper, effective way? Is that overbearing, overarching? When the reality is, we have seen with 10 million illegals coming over the southern border and the northern border underneath the Biden administration, we saw terrorist activity go up in America tremendously. We saw, fentanyl killing 100,000, drug-related stuff, incidents happening. It's just so terrible. See, Trump's not banning speech. He's saying, prove, let me do an underwriting or due diligence on this person. Prove you're not smuggling bombs or cartel cash. And this elite hypocrisy meltdown because it threatens their open border utopia. That's really what it comes down to. Okay? See, Trump's stance is very crystal clear. Border chaos is a national emergency. We need to know who is coming into this country. Okay? Period. Terrorism risks are real. It's what's happening. Hamas sympathizers, ISIS recruiters, cartel hitmen, waltzing and unchecked. We've been so naive for so long. And I actually think there's a lot more people that are not naive now. I think more people are standing up and understanding the importance of having some sort of structure for border security. Okay? Other countries, Israel demands your browser history. See, China scans your phone at the airport. Australia tracks your COVID vax status. America, it is finally doing something about the structure of who are we tracking that comes in this nation. Okay? Now, the same crybaby screaming surveillance today had zero problem. This is the hypocrisy. They had zero problem when big tech censored conservatives. The NSA hovered and looked at all your metadata under Obama and was targeting specific Republicans and conservatives. And COVID apps geofence your church visits as long as it's targeted Trump voters in red states. See, they're fine with it. See, that's the hypocrisy. See, do you remember the Twitter files? See, FBI paying millions to suppress Hunter Biden stories. That's factual. Now they clutch pearls over visitors vetting. This is beyond propaganda hypocrites. See, Trump's tools target threats at the border. That's all it is. It just focuses on making sure those individuals that are coming into this country, whether through visas or whatever, that we're filtering them. And if they apply for something or our citizenship, we're obviously filtering them, which totally makes sense. But we got to make sure that we have the correct boundaries on that system and process so that it cannot later be used to target the opposition, right? See, this works. Post 9/11 visas reform caught 1,000 plus risks, 100,000 plus risks. Social media flags radicals 90% better than paper apps. See, we can use AI to integrate that and be able to look at the social media structure, social media stuff, and be able to really identify, okay, is this going to work or is this not, right? And as you can see, post 9/11 visas reform caught 100,000 plus possible harmful activity things that are going on in America. See, short-term results, safer streets, fewer terror plots. Long term is leverage for reciprocal deals. No more Americans harassed abroad, or we play nice. It's very simple. But here's the nuance. Even as I watch this slippery slope, this limits to high-risk visas. Sunset clauses, no citizen creep. So that, again, having those very strong borders or strong structure around this so that this cannot be used against the opposition later on. So we got to make sure that this has no citizen creep. They can't use this against our own American citizens. Trump's the bulldog that we need. An eternal vigilance, or it becomes a Democrat wet dream. So if elites and the leftists okay tracking you for a virus, but freak out vetting jihadists, who do you trust with the keys? That's what it comes down to. The leftists allow all this illegal immigrants and all these American harmful situations coming in illegally, and it increased the harmful possible terrorist activity in America. And over here, Trump is just vetting these individuals, making sure that we know who's coming into this country. It is a simple structure. So guys, this is really what it comes down to. Is like here, we have the leftists over here that want America demise, and that's what you vote for. Or we have Trump and the Republicans, when they have bold leadership like Trump and the administration. It is America greatness, and it is America dominance. Until next time, guys, LFG America. Cheers.